Hi everyone. So I thought that I would do a quick update while I was actually feeling semi decent. Um, I actually made a list this time because there were a lot of things that I kind of wanted to touch on and I didn't want to forget. Um, so I am almost 2 weeks post op RNY Gastric bypass. I had it Monday, September 14th, so this upcoming Monday will be my 2 week date. To date, I lost 22 inches and 39 pounds, and I'm extremely happy with that. I mean, if I lose another 25 pounds, I'll officially be under 300 pounds and lost 65 pounds. And my doctor is actually expecting me to be at my first goal of under 300 pounds um, in 2 weeks when I see him next. So I'm kind of excited that he can see that happening. It kind of makes it more real to me. And I'm just happy with my progress this far. Um, I know a lot of people talk about having regrets after gastric bypass surgery, and it doesn't ever stay. It's just a phase. It can last a day, it can last a month, but people just kind of regret it. And I don't want to jinx myself, but I haven't hit that point yet. I haven't had any regrets to date. And I've had a lot of obstacles and things happen as a result of the surgery. But the weight loss has made it worth it, so to speak. Um, so, yeah. So, two major things that had happened since my last video was on my left incision, where my stomach actually is. On that incision, it almost felt like a hernia. I had never had one, but I was talking to people, I was looking online, things like that, and I truly felt like I had a hernia. Like the rest of the pain in my abdomen had kind of gone away. None of the other incisions were causing me any pain, but this one felt just as bad as if it was my first day post op. I couldn't bend down at all. Just sitting down hurt, laying down hurt, standing up hurt. I couldn't do anything. And when I touched it, it felt and still feels like a ball, like a hard, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like a hard ball under the incision, right directly under where the scar is. And I'd say it's bigger than a golf ball, but smaller than a baseball. But it is hard. So I had called my surgeon and he told me to come right in. The symptoms were of a hernia, but he didn't think it was a hernia because um, I was less than 2 weeks post op, and he said typically it takes longer than that for them to form. But when I laid in, when I went in, he did an exam and he had me lay down and he started feeling it. And I have never been in so much pain in my entire life. I was laying on the table hysterically crying. Tears were running down my face. He was grabbing it as if it was a ball. Like he was grabbing inside my stomach and he was like twisting it and feeling it. And it was the most painful thing. It felt like it went on for about 10 minutes, but I'd say it went on for a good probably 3 minutes of him grabbing and twisting this really painful area in my stomach. So he sent me to have an ultrasound just to kind of make sure. He wasn't sure what it was. So I went and had an ultrasound. I came back and he said that it was fluid buildup on the incision mark. And then he said to just have a heating pad on it for 20 minutes, off it 20 minutes, going back and forth for a few days. I've been doing that. I saw him on Monday, I believe I saw him, and I've been doing it every single day, and it hasn't gone down. He did say that it can take a few weeks to improve, but the amount of pain that I am in from that is really bad. Like, I, if I could, I'd still be taking pain meds. I'll tell you in a minute why I'm not. But it's extremely painful. I'm not sleeping at all because at least with the pain meds, they would make the pain a little better, but they would put me to sleep. So at least I was able to get a solid, 6 to 8 hours of sleep, which really helped. And I'm, waking up every half hour, 45 minutes because of the pain on my left side. So then the second thing that happened was, I'm trying to think. So I saw him for the um, the incision on I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. And so on Wednesday, I started to break out with this rash on my left arm. And at first I thought it was because the heating pad was on my left side, that maybe because my arm was on the heating pad, it was kind of like a heat rash. And it wasn't bothering me too much. It was just, the sight of a rash on my arm. And so I didn't really give it any thought. The day progressed. And then that night it was all over my stomach. And again, I thought, okay, it has to just be a heat rash because, my stomach and my arm are what are experiencing the heat. I wake up the next morning and both my arms, my entire stomach, and my back are covered in hives. Like they are no longer a rash, it is hives. Um, I am extremely itchy. And so I call him, and luckily that day I had one of my checkups, which was only, I think it was like 3 days after I had just seen him for the incision that I thought might have been a hernia. And so I went in again, and when I was there for my checkup, I said, I kind of have this rash. And so when he went to go check my incisions just to make sure they were all healing, he was like, he was kind of taken back and he said, "Oh, that is really bad." And so I was waiting for him to kind of tell me what to do because when a doctor says, "Oh, that's bad," you want to know what to do. And so he was like, "Well, it might be from one of the antibiotics that I put you on. I think it's called like Levaquin, something like that." And so immediately stopped taking it. And so obviously I have no medical background. And he did tell me that this can happen. But I'm just surprised that I had been taking this drug for over a week and I had no reaction. And then all of a sudden, I just have this reaction out of nowhere, and half my body is covered in extreme hives. And so I just said okay, and I stopped taking it. And he said that he wanted me to start taking Benadryl. And so he said that if I take Benadryl, though, I can't take the pain meds because they will both put me to sleep, and he doesn't want me taking them. So at that point, I said, obviously taking Benadryl and getting the hives to go away need to be the first priority over my pain. And then once that gets fixed, if I need to take pain meds again, I can just take them again. So I go home. I immediately stop taking the antibiotic and I take Benadryl. Now, it knocked me out. Um, I probably got home. My appointment was at like 9 a.m. I got home and I slept for about 5 hours. I wake up, the hives spread. They're all over my legs. I mean, covered in my legs. And they're getting just like more bumpy. And it's horrible. So he did say to give it a day before I'll see any kind of improvement. So I said, fine. And he said, if I can't breathe or if I get a fever, anything like that, then to call him and go to the emergency room. But nothing was happening. It was just spreading. So then Fast forward to the next day, I wake up, my whole chest and my whole face is covered in hives. And so I start to get worried because at this point I had been on Benadryl for over 24 hours and I hadn't taken the antibiotic in over 24 hours. And yet I was literally covered in hives from head to toe. So I decided to kind of just wait it out. And this morning I didn't have any hives on my face, which was the most important. I have a few left on my chest, but they're really mild. My arms are still pretty bad. My stomach is still pretty bad. My thighs, but my calves aren't. So at least I can start to see some kind of improvement. The only thing I'm worried about is that he can't tell me if the allergic reaction truly was to the antibiotic or if it was something I ate or something, no one can know. And so I'm just worried if I have it again. I mean, this was one of the most miserable experiences because I'm covered in hives. I'm itchy as all hell, and I'm in pain, and I can't take pain medicine. So it's been an interesting few days. Also, um, this was also something that I thought was important to people who might be interested to see how you like progress through the stages. Um, when I was on the liquids, I didn't have a problem drinking water or drinking anything like that. I really didn't have a problem like with soup either. I mean, I didn't test myself, but I never felt full. I never felt it stuck in my throat. But when I drink water, I am a gulper, like I can't just take a sip. But I never felt any discomfort, anything like that. Well, when I did have that checkup with him, he progressed me from all liquids to soft food, but I know a lot of people's soft food is like things that you can like mush, like mashed potatoes. My soft food's different. It's really any food that you can cut with a fork. So if I can cut a piece of chicken with a fork, I can have it. If I can cut, like obviously I can't have steak. I can't cut a steak with a fork. I can't have a cracker, but it's pretty open as to what I can have. So I was excited. I was like, I've been on all liquids and now, jello, soup, ice pops. That was about the extent of it. I was allowed oatmeal that was watered down. So I was excited to be able to be moved on to semi normal food. Well, I go home and I have, what did I have? I had string cheese, which is something they highly recommend. And so I had it. I felt so nauseous. And I was like, okay, like maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just a bad thing. And so as it's progressed, so I've been on it now since Wednesday, and today's Saturday. It has gotten worse and worse. Yesterday, so Wednesday and Thursday, I was able to eat without any pain, but I would just get nauseous. And then Friday, yesterday, I tried to have a piece of chicken. I've had chicken and I've had no issue. And I took a small bite, I chewed it, and it felt like there were knives stuck in my chest. Like I had never experienced something so bad. And then on top of that, I was nauseous. And they tell you not to drink for 30 minutes after you eat. I couldn't. I was like, if I don't drink some water, I'm going to throw up. So I ended up drinking some water. And it went away within probably 5 minutes. But now it happens with everything. I tried to have some like canned tuna, same thing. I had maybe a teaspoon of it, and I felt like I was being stabbed in the chest. the thought of food makes me nauseous. Just in general, I'm nauseous all day. If I'm around food, if I'm not around food, it's just I'm nauseous. And on top of that, now when I try to drink water, I try to drink water with Crystal Light, I try to drink iced tea, anything, it makes me nauseous. And I can't gulp like I could the first week when I was on liquids. Like I really have to sip, otherwise that too causes me pain. So, and that's what I was expecting from day one. But when during the first week I didn't experience those symptoms, I kind of thought, oh, maybe that's not going to happen to me. Well, I'm almost 2 weeks out now and it's happening to me. I can't take big gulps of water. Um, I have been kind of leaning more towards the liquids than the soft food. Like I had Greek yogurt twice today. Um, I'm pretty sure that's all I ate. I think I had Greek yogurt. I had an ice pop, which is why my lips are red. But it's the only things that don't cause me pain. Um, I'm not sure if I'm going to call my surgeon's office. It's the weekend, but I might call them Monday to just see, if that's normal, if they think I should look into something just with everything else going on, if that could be another symptom. But it's extreme pain, and I am chewing my food properly, and it is still extreme pain. Um, Another thing was that and I don't know what this is. It could be a few different reasons, but I used to love to take long showers. If I'm in the shower for more than 5 minutes now, I get so lightheaded and I feel like I'm going to throw up. And so, Google is not a good thing to look up medical symptoms because you'll think you're dying by the time you Google everything. But a few people said low blood pressure, a few people said you're not intaking enough salt. The salt makes a lot of sense because if I'm hardly eating, then I'm not really getting salt. So I think that's something I should bring up to him as well, um, because I can't be in the shower for more than 5 minutes. And I don't think I take extremely hot showers. I think I take normal showers, but I really feel like I'm going to pass out. Um, it was funny because I was just reading my note, but it was funny because pre-op I had met with a dietitian and she had kind of gone over the foods that I should eat, how you should eat your protein first, all the standard things. But when I went home, I realized that she didn't really give me a calorie goal for where I should be. And that kind of started to stress me out. And I kind of started looking online and trying to figure out how many calories you should be intaking, because when you're pre op and we all go through 1,000,001 diets on our own to try to lose weight, there's always a calorie goal, or for Weight Watchers, there's a points goal. And so I was like, wait, did I miss something? Did she forget to tell me? Well, here I am post op, and I finally realized why there was no calorie goal is because I'm barely getting in maybe 250 calories a day. And that's pushing myself. That's remembering, I need to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and things like that. That's not just me not thinking about food. That's me thinking about food and making food. And so, obviously, the rest of my life, I'm not going to be eating 250 calories. But, for at least the first year, I can't imagine myself going over 1,000 or 1,200 calories. So I think that will be a goal, probably 1,000 calories a day once, my body gets used to this. But it was just funny because pre-op I was thinking, she forgot to tell me how many calories to eat. How am I going to know how to track it? And right now my concerns are not calories at all. Um, I'm not getting in the right amount of protein because I'm not able to eat as much as I should be. Um, and then that goes in with liquids, like water. I'm not getting in enough liquids. I think they want me to be getting in 64 ounces of fluids, and I'm maybe averaging 35 ounces. With protein, they want me between 80 and 100 grams, and I'm anywhere between 30 and maybe 50 on a really good day. Um, but I did bring that up to my doctor, and he said that that's normal when you're starting. You need to learn how to reach those goals. Excuse me. And so, yeah, he isn't too worried that I'm not getting that. He said that I'm getting enough liquids to not be dehydrated, and that's really the main concern right now. Um, and then the last thing I just wanted to talk about that no one really talked about um, is how fatigued I am. And I'm not sure if this is just because of how long I was in the hospital, the pneumonia, now the side issue I'm having, the hives. I don't know if it's all of these things or if it's really just the surgery in general. I am so fatigued. When I had talked to people pre op, everyone said, oh, they're feeling great a few days after. They're able to walk around. They're able, some people go back to work after a week. Well, I'm almost at 2 weeks and I'm in graduate school. I haven't picked up a book. I haven't written anything. I haven't written a paper. I haven't written a discussion, anything. And luckily, my professors have been so, so helpful and understanding. And they're really willing to work with me to make a game plan once I'm feeling better on how to catch up and still have a successful semester. But if I did not have that, I would have had to drop this semester. I mean, I am so tired. Even when we do leave the house, like, oh, let's just go walk around a store, we have to pick up a few things. Nothing big, just to get out of the house. After about 5 minutes in the store, I feel so tired. I feel like I just want to go back in the car and sit down. Um, I go to bed. I don't physically sleep because I can't, but I lay down in bed probably by 8, 9 o'clock. Um, I have been waking up really early, like 6 a.m. every day, and I'm not one to wake up early. So I guess they kind of work themselves out, but still, I'm just so tired. I have no motivation to do anything. Um, and it's just a lot. I was really expecting a quick recovery just because of all the stories that I had heard of people going back to work after a week. And I know everyone's recovery is different, but mine has been a lot. But the one thing that I am really grateful for is, I've heard a lot of people say that for a day, like I said, a day, a week, a month, people have regrets about the surgery. They just regret it for one reason or another, and I haven't. And I think that if I was regretting it, it would be so much worse because I would just get so depressed. I'm regretting a surgery. I'm missing time in school. I'm in pain. I'm in hives. I'm having all these issues. And so the one thing helping me during this time is not regretting the surgery and seeing the weight come off. But I know this was a really long video. There was just a lot of things that I kind of wanted to document. And hopefully next week I will have an update. But that's it for now. Bye bye.